And in our 40s is different than our 30s, because usually in our 40s it's about this time that we recognize that our bodies is changing. And usually you could, before then, you could just jump up out the bed and you could go. And you also, it's a time when you could have stayed out late. You could, be out till 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And if you were like me, at 5 o'clock, I had to get up and be to work at about 7. So I still was able to jump up, but in my 40s, it got a little, it got a little rough. Now I still could have do it, but I started needing to know that I needed to slow down a little bit. And so a lot of times in your 40s doesn't mean that you can't still have fun. Your fun just looks different. And a lot of times, if you did it right in your 20s and your 30s, you about ready to, slow down a little bit. That's just, how it is. And so, but it is also a time when you look back and you see how much you have accomplished, and you see how much you didn't accomplish. So usually that is the time when you start reflecting and you start to say, I need to make some change. Now, for some of us, that happens in our 30s. Sometimes we do a course correction in our 30s because we realize that we jacked up them 20s. And so now we need to be a little more serious in our 30s. Some people, it doesn't happen until they're in their 40s. So a lot of times within that season is when you begin to recognize that I have to make some real changes in my life. If I'm going to do different, because it's right about that time, if you haven't been taking care of your body, if you haven't been doing your exercise, if you haven't been mentally taking care of yourself, that's usually when you start to really get to notice that in your physical body. So you have to now make the changes, because if you plan to have a good 50s and you plan to have a good 60s, you got to make the changes. That's when you look at your financial situation. And maybe in your 20s and your 30s, you was just blowing off money, and as you made it, you spent it. But now in your 40s, a lot of times that's when you recognize that, hey, I don't have any, you know, savings. I don't have any investments. I don't have anything that I have to show for my money. So now I need to be looking at, how do I now make sure that I have something more than just paying my bills, and making sure that I have food on the table, light, water, clothes, go to whatever experiences that I want to go to. I need to have more. So you have to make that real hard decision as to what you're going to do with the rest of your life, so that it can be the best part of your life.